Are you just a dream? A dream to some, a nightmare to others.
On my clock, wake up, then I drop to my knees, begging please, as time come to a freeze, cool breeze come my way, out of LA, then I say, dear Lord, what you got from me today? And he said, your daily bread, get back in bed, for the visions of your head, I be fed from the angel in your stead, then I'm led to a place where I place with a vision of a face, revelations.
Carry the Alabama heart, move through big city. Use humility, literacy, reading spirit. As I spit to the earth, the steam rises from hell. With tunnel vision, eyes closed, direction I braille. Spiritual navigational system. Listen to the night rituals, epistles. Condition critical, wind kisses my physical. Just a description of my mental. This be the music that play in my headphones. How can I be alone, man? I'm in the zone. It's my job to dodge bullets, to dodge harlots, the camouflage in streets of gray and scarlet, poverty-stricken pirates, open drug markets. Basically, all are moving targets, praying not to be hit. The superstitious don't wear red around crypts. Customs of the Roman witches, pigeons that fly out of the rhythm from the order, causing the others to be sorta. Holy niggas, the drier the soul, the more the story unfold. Right now, hell is cold, its presence is unclear. Spiritual mistakes, unthought my tears. My desire not easily seen by my peers. Play your position, master and mind your business. Fallen angel physician, study the art of listening. Water and wisdom be baptism. Peace be dead, the warrior gets arisen. Weapons are hidden, manifested righteous decisions. Acting feminine about what we ain't getting, gonna make us all bitches. Female dogs habitually trained to remain in prison. Female dogs habitually trained to remain in prison.
On my clock, wake up, then I drop to my knees, begging please, as time come to a freeze, cool breeze come my way, out of LA, then I say, dear Lord, what you got from me today? And he said, your daily bread, get back in bed, for the visions of your head, I be fed from the angel in your stead, then I'm led to a place where I'm placed with a vision of a face, revelations.
As I breathe off, bleed through my mind, yeah. I move instinctively while letting sunset. I buy your rock mind, the rock sincere. As I move in the fear that had here from the words of a city. Meditation in the midst of movement. Who's this? Moving to the sound of music. Going deeper off in the brain while they feigning spiritual. I'm working literal miracles. Time moves spherical, whimsical, like some tropical forces. Tame the full horse, caught at the horseman. Learn it, crab became a sportsman. Learn to exhort men in the discourse of men. I serve and swerve to the course of the moon. Wax and wane, though I change to remain the same. Things reveal as I move through the night sky. Stay tucked in the mind to the right revelation.
On my clock, wake up, then I drop to my knees, begging please, as time come to a freeze, cool breeze come my way, out of LA, then I say, dear Lord, what you got from me today? And he said, your daily bread, get back in bed, for the visions of your head, I be fed from the angel in your stead, then I'm led to a place where I'm placed with a vision of a face, revelations.
Revelations. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. Yahweh Shah. This is your brother IQAhmath. I acquire first name. IQ is all the same. Reach another episode. DSTM. Don't shoot the messenger. That is restricted in this area. Okay. You're thinking about it, get out. But if you've been around, you know what I've been putting down. If you've not, don't get too close because you might get shot. Here for another episode, man. Hopefully y'all ready. Man. We got a good one. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. blessed about everybody that's in the house and that's been supporting the channel and everything that we've been pushing over here. Shabbat shalom to who we got in the house, man? My man Naquab in the house, brother Ron in the house. Shemai, I see you got your Wi-Fi back up. All praises. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. My sister Rosemary, blessings to y'all out there in London. Who else we got? My man Kohath in the house, of course. Why would I even doubt that you in the house, bro? I know you in the house. I know you in the house. All praises, man. My good brother Aladad in the house, Elder Rashaf in the house. Anybody and everybody else, man, that ain't came in and tapped in, man, shalom to y'all, man. Shalom to y'all as well. Getting ready for the blessed feast of dedication that's coming up, Ashar Kanak, to all those that's going to be celebrating this evening with us, whether you're physically here with us or in the spirit. We'll be also on our affiliate brothers channel, Believers of the Way, BLW, tonight 7:00. If you're not tapped in with the brothers channel, man, tap in over there. We'll be holding class with them and the feast with them this evening. So all praises for that. But other than that, man, hopefully everybody's doing well, man. As I say, doing as well in the land of hell as we're all trying to maintain a tight grip on everything that's going and moving fast in this place. Fitting song that we put on today, man, Revelation, which means revealing. And a lot of things are being revealed as we, constantly looking at these current events and seeing what's happening, going on in the earth. Man, if you're blocking out the noise with the chit chat and the spattering that goes back and forth, and within our community, it's always cyclical. There's always times when we get the button heads, when we get tired of feasting on the other doctrines that's out there, be it Christianity, Islam, be it Catholicism, be it voodoo, witchcraft, whatever the case may be, atheism, you name it. We eventually find means to start gnawing at each other, as young lions looking for prey. But if you're not focusing in on those particular aspects, the world is still moving around, man, and there still are enemies and there still are oppressors who are continually looking to take us out. And if you're not paying attention, you might get taken out, right? So let's stay locked in. Let's stay focused, man. U.S. military, many of y'all seen it and heard about it, man, pulled up on a Venezuelan oil tanker, seized it. And of course, Agent Orange says, oh, spoils of war. Oh, not necessarily, he didn't say that, but he says, hey, as a provocation for war, he says, well, guess what? We're going to keep this. Haven't we been saying this all along, that this whole so-called drug war that's going on between the U.S. and Venezuela has never been about the drugs. It's always been about the resources and the assets that Venezuela presents, which is oil, gold, and precious minerals that they have over there. Because you got to think about it, man. All of these years that the war on drugs has been happening, dating back, as far as I can remember, and it may be, maybe longer than that, but I know Ronald Reagan had the DARE program, and he was declaring war against drugs, and then you had the Oliver North situation and Nicaragua, and you never really heard Venezuela being involved in the drug trade. All of a sudden, Agent Orange pops out and says, hey, these guys over here trafficking drugs. This is the biggest hub of, forget Pablo Escobar and the Colombians, and forget about all the multiple cartels in Mexico. Forget about China and the fentanyl. Forget all of a sudden this little old Venezuela, that's big old bad wolf that's trafficking these drugs in here, man. Are we supposed to believe this? Obviously not, because we've been hearing about and knowing about. And if y'all remember, maybe a couple months back, I played a clip of Agent Orange talking about he wasn't president at the time, but he was on record saying that, oh, and if we had got to Venezuela, they got a lot of oil. I would have took it all if I was president. And here he is. Now he's going out seizing oil tankers, let alone bombing fish boats that we've yet to find any evidences that there was drugs on these boats, drug money, drug traffickers, anything. We still ain't seen or heard none of the above. They're killing anybody that survives. Oh, excuse me, unaliving anybody that survives these particular blasts. They've had accounts where they're bombing these boats, and men are still holding on to scraps of the boats, and they go and double back for another bombing. So we know that's not the case. Even outside of that, that's why I said, man, hopefully y'all are ready, man. You strapped in, because we got a lot to discuss today. Hopefully, you ate your Wheaties and all that. But multiple other wars is breaking out, man. You got Pakistan and Afghanistan going at it, Cambodia and Cambodia and not Vietnam. I gotta double back. We're gonna make sure I get it. Just had a brain fart, as they said. But Cambodia and another Asian nation, they're going at it right now. At the same time, the peace deal as far as Ukraine and Russia is concerned, you can forget about that. Trump done doubled down and said, well, we're going to give you until Christmas. Last month it was Thanksgiving. Why does he keep targeting these folly days as deadlines? Y'all remember last month he said, we're going to give you until Thanksgiving or we're going to pull out. Well, that didn't happen. And we see that there was no peace deal that was agreed to. Now he, comes back. Well, I'm going to give you till Christmas now. I mean, true taco behavior. Trump always chickens out. Isn't that what they say? True taco behavior. So now it's you've gotten till the birth date of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Let me stop. Now you got until December 25th to sign the deal, or he's gonna pull out support, and he's gonna stop with the radar and the navigation systems helping them. Cambodia and Thailand. There you go, Ashar, at the water, my brother. He's giving them another deadline. So that's another war that hasn't ceased and is continuing on, right? I'm gonna give you some more updates on the digital ID, the world ID system, man. Trump just laid down a law saying that states cannot regulate AI anymore. There's gonna be one system of regulation that's gonna go through the government. States cannot regulate or determine the powers of AI now. So it's all going to be government control. Yeah, of course. We just see how that works out, right? You're talking about Big Brother. You're talking about the digital beast system is going to be centralized one way. There's not going to be 50 different ways according to U.S. standards. 50 states can all say what they want to do with. No. Agent Orange says it's going to be one way, and we've heard that terminology plenty of times, right? One world. Oh, okay. You know the rest. We even talk about, man, cannibalism. Is that being legalized? I touched on this a couple of years ago, but me and my good brother Shalak, man, we had a little exchange with some. I think he sent a video. It was talking about some aspects of cannibalism, and I said, I'm gonna revisit that again, remind everybody just in case you don't remember. And what I'm talking about, you're gonna be like, oh snap, oh yeah, I do remember. Oh, okay, you know what? Let me stop giving y'all previews, man. We're gonna go ahead and get right into it. All right. I want to start off, man. And it would be befitting of us to start off with reading of a scripture, right? The Spirit told me, man, read a psalm, man, because you're gonna find vital prayers. When you don't know what to say, the scripture, there's an old saying, when you don't know what to do what you know, right? And one thing that the scriptures tell us is to pray without ceasing. And if you're ever looking for prayers or just help you with your thought patterns and prayers, you got to look at your ancestors. You got to look at what they were going through. We know David was going through hell after his, fall. He had to organize and create prayers and songs for you to the Most High. Now, this one in Psalm 17, I thought was kind of fitting, especially in the times that we're living in right now. All right. We're gonna read the whole thing, then we're gonna get to some other scriptures, then we're gonna get into this PowerPoint. So Psalm 17:1, a prayer of David. Hear the right, O Yahweh, attend unto my cry, give ear unto my prayer that goeth not out of feigned lips. Let my sentence come forth from thy presence. Let thine eyes behold the things that are equal. Thou hast proved my heart. Thou hast visited me in the night. Thou hast tried me and shalt find nothing. I am proposed that my mouth shall not transgress. See, that's verse 3 is a cold one, because David was in operation mode of pure repentance, right? And he was trying to acknowledge to the Most High, hey, you know what? I might have messed up, but I'm on point now. Remember, I'm a man after your own heart. He said, you're trying me. You're not going to find that I'm in error. That's the goal of where we're trying to reach. You know, Yahweh Shah said to be ye perfect as I am also perfect. He told us to be blameless, you know, even as the office of a bishop or a leader, being blameless, you know, it's a hard thing to strive for. You know, we're battling in this flesh, and this carcass known as the flesh, man, that's holding a spirit that desires to do right. Hopefully, I should say that. Hopefully, the spirit that desires to do right for all of us. But you know, that's what we're trying to do. So verse 3 is inspiration for all of us, right? Verse 4, concerning the works of men, by the word of thy lips, I have kept me from the paths of the destroyer. Hold up my goings and my paths, that my footsteps slip not. See, you thought the Most High didn't speak slang? He said, man, hold up my paths so that I don't get caught slipping. That's what that means. So hold up our goings, you know, in Proverbs 3, verse 6, it says, trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and he'll direct our paths. So verse 5 is letting us know we have to trust in the Most High in all things and let him continually direct our paths. Don't be willful, forward in your thinking, prideful, arrogant, right? Thinking that we know more than the word of the Lord. The Lord gave us everything that we need within this book, man. If we follow the instructions, we'll be okay. That's why the acronym of Bible is basic instructions before leaving earth. This book is our guideline. This is our manual and how we take care of our bodies, our spirits, our brothers and sisters, our nation, so forth and so on. You know, we always make the analogies of everything comes with an instruction manual, from electronics to your car, you know, all of the damn agreements that we got on these apps, on these phones that you got to agree to. And everything comes with forewarnings and information and understanding on what you're getting into. For us, it's a covenant, right? We came into the covenant of the Most High, the law covenant, the blood covenant, the covenant of circumcision, so forth and so on, right? These are the things that the Most High said, you're being held to a particular standard. Hold fast to it, trust in this, and I'll direct your paths. I'll make sure everything is straight for you. Otherwise, your footsteps will slip. Verse 6, I've called upon thee, for thou wilt hear me, O Yahweh. Incline thine ear unto me and hear my speech. Show thy marvelous loving kindness, O thou that savest by thy right hand, them which put their trust in thee from those that rise up against them. Keep me as the apple of thy eye. Hide me under the shadow of thy wings from the wicked that oppress me. Verse 8 and 9 has got to be in our memory banks at all times, because it definitely is a controlled opposition that is coming to seek out and destroy Blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics, otherwise known as the Israelites, the children of the Most High, right? The chosen people of God, the true Jews. Hide me under the shadow of thy wings from the wicked that oppress me, from my deadly enemies who compass me about. You know, when we look at some of these, we're gonna look at some of these particular articles, right? And I did a DSTM I don't know how long ago it was, but I said, and the title of it was, you know, Trump declares war on blacks and browns, and gave you, you know, articles and information and seeing how he was waging war against Venezuela, waging war against, you know, threatening Colombia, Nigeria. We see in the homeland everything that was going on with ICE, so forth and so on, right? Now we're seeing it again. You're going to see the same pattern that's continuing. He's expanding to Cuba now. You know, he's waging war against everybody except for his own damn people. You see him now, he's slowly trying to back out the Ukraine situation, you know, but eventually it's all going to catch up to him. We're going to see that in a little bit. But let me finish this up. They are enclosed in their own fat. With their mouth, they speak proudly. They have now compassed us in our steps. They have set their eyes bowing down to the earth, like as a lion that is greedy of his prey, and as it were a young lion lurking in the secret places. Yeah, 1 Peter 5:8 tells us the same thing. Be sober, be vigilant. Was your adversary, the devil, walketh about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour? We got to stay. Vigilant, right? Verse 13. Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. From men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life. See, that's how the Most High even, you know, and it shows you how the Most High even uses and manipulates these nations to even impose, you know, his will and his judgment on us. That's why we got to repent. That's why we got to make sure that we're staying on point, right? It says, "Oh Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. From men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of children and leave the rest of their substances to their babes." Yeah, that's the generational wealth that the so-called white man gets. That's white supremacy at its fullest, you know. When you're wondering if there's systematic oppression, if you're seeing how they pass down wealth and land and businesses and corporations to their people, that's how they do it. We don't even get financial literacy knowledge in our nation. Everything that they've stolen, they've been able to pass it on down. You know, that's why when you get certain whites and other nations, man, that hear our plight and hear our understanding regarding history, prophecy, judgment, so forth and so on, they always say, well, it wasn't us. I wasn't there. But you're complicit and you're also aiding and abetting criminal activity. You have profiteered off of the actions of your ancestors and did nothing about it. So sometimes now you do see the white guilt, man. They run out there and they want to protest and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's of naught, because the Most High's judgment is still going to stand. Verse 15, as for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness. So that's what the Most High wants for us to do. Okay. Let's start it off. And let me blow this up. We're going to start off with this video and let's look at the actions of America. After this ad, come on.
Tensions are rising off the coast of Venezuela tonight after U.S. military forces boarded and seized an oil tanker earlier this morning. It marks a major escalation following weeks of American raids on suspected drug boats in the Caribbean. The operation started before dawn as helicopters closed in on the tanker, a vessel called the Skipper. Special Operations Forces rappelled onto that deck and took control. The mission involved Coast Guard and Marine units launching from the USS Ford aircraft carrier. While the U.S. has targeted alleged drug boats for months, this is the first time the administration has gone after oil, Venezuela's main source of revenue.
Oh, now we see there it said they were going after drug boats. This is the first time they've gone after oil, which is the main source of revenue for Venezuela. So clearly we see what's going on here.
As you probably know, we've just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, large tanker, very large. Largest one ever seized, actually. And other things are happening.
Venezuela has some of the largest.
Other things are happening. I wonder what else is happening. See, when you're wondering, well, why and how is the Most High going to judge this place, man, it's because of his particular actions, right? Let's look at Zechariah, the 5th chapter. Zechariah 5:1. It says, "Then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof is 10 cubits. So Zechariah is seeing a flying scroll that's revealing, understanding the prophecy and judgment that's going to happen, right? And in particular, is going to hit America. Now watch this. It says, Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. Well, listen, who's in control of the earth? Job 9:24 says the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. So this is a judgment of the wicked who is in control over the face of the earth, so-called white man. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. So it says everyone that stealeth shall be cut off. What hasn't the so-called white man stolen? He's stolen languages, lands, identities, inventions, weapons. I mean, he's the known thief. I always used to ask people, man, what he steals cultures, you name it. So when you say, well, what's in the what do they do in white culture? Now, see, they always try to, well, in the German culture and the French culture, no, you're all the same now. Do you have a kindred culture that you do? Oh, bungee jumping, daredevil stunts, you're eating raw meat. Okay, I guess if that's what you would consider it. But all the other nations have particular cultures, and in particular, within Israel, we have a law, statute, and commandment, everything else that we're supposed to be keeping. But we're talking about culture. Outside of that, they steal everything. Dating back to the Greeks, they steal from the Babylonians, they steal from Egypt. Rome steals from the same cultures and whatnot. They steal from the Jews. But the Lord said they're going to be cut off. So here we're seeing in real time strong arm robbery. I remember years ago, they gave a brother his third strike in California. Third strike out here means if you have a third felony, violent felony, or whatever the case may be, you were subject to life in prison. He got his third strike for stealing a piece of pizza. Pizza. Now, we're seeing a nation in real time, military dropping troops onto the damn oil tanker, seizing a viable monetary asset of another country with no real provocation, no real understanding as to why. It's supposed to be a war on drugs. They're going to double back and say, well, the money from the oil is tied back to them being able to purchase drugs. They're going to make up some lie. Same way they do like civil asset forfeiture and that whole thing. We talked about that before. Now it says, and everyone that swears shall be cut off as on the side of. Now, watch this. I will bring it forth, saith Yahweh of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name. Swear falsely by my name. Even though God is in the name of the Most High, but to the nations, they do believe that. Here is the place that you were on stolen land. And in the same land, they endorse it by saying, in God we trust. Swearing falsely. When the president gets sworn in on the Bible, what do? They throw that out. They don't follow no laws of the Bible at all. All the senators and government officials, they all taking particular vows and oaths falsely. Right? And it says, and it shall remain in the midst of his house and shall consume it with the timber and the stones thereof. So this is going to be the judgment that happens to this place. Why? Because they swear falsely by the name of the Most High and they live off of thievery and robbery. We witnessed a crime just now and ain't nothing happening. And they hide it behind saying this is all about drugs. Proverbs 22:22 says, rob not the poor because he is poor, neither oppress the afflicted in the gate. This is a statute that we're supposed to understand and live by. Now, again, he says, raise your hand, right hand, left hand on the Bible, right hand on the Bible, raise your left hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth, Do you swear to defend this nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic? They go through all of that, right? Swearing on the Bible, but never open it up to look at this and say, Proverbs 22:22 says, rob not the poor because he is poor. Everybody knows that Venezuela is a struggling nation with high inflation, full of poverty. I showed y'all the video. You seen them. The money is worthless. They're out there making bags and purses with the money. I've shared testimonies of people saying, they have rations with water, electricity. They got rolling blackouts over there just to maintain. A lot of the people out there trying to creating their own diaspora to either come to America or South America because they need better jobs, opportunities. Everybody knows that Venezuela is an impoverished country. Not only them, Colombia as well. Now, don't get me wrong. In all places, there's a rich and poor dynamic. But the majority of the people there are poor and impoverished. Same way in Cuba. Cuba's got rolling blackouts, food lines, the whole nine over there. That oil was supposed to go to Cuba in order to help them sustain. Now they're not getting that. So he violated and he basically killed two birds with one stone, but in the same fashion, he was able to get two more charges against him in the eyes of the Most High. Right? Now, let's go over to Revelation. Revelation 22:14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have the right to the tree of life and may enter into the gates into the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters, and watch this, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. Well, who loves and makes lies? Who's in love with lying? We've talked about it on a number of occasions, seen the scriptures in Revelation 12:9, where it says that, where the Revelation tells us that this is Satan, the great serpent. You know what? I don't want to misquote it. Let's go there. Revelation 12, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called devil and Satan, who deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Revelation 13, I believe in verse 4, tells you that this last beast, Rome, which is America is an extension of Rome, power was given unto him via Satan. And what's their motivating force? Deceit. They're going to deceive the whole world. And these angels, or his agents, the so-called white man in his kingdom, they're going to use deceit over the whole world. Okay? Now, whosoever loveth to make it a lie is not getting into the kingdom of heaven. Right? Now we're seeing it. Okay? Because what? He says about drugs, but now they're going after the oil, they're going after money. We know that it's not about that. Venezuela is not even the biggest, drug trafficker. They're creating this whole frame. Remember Trinidad de Agua? Oh, this is the biggest threat drug gang in the Western Hemisphere. We got to get rid of them. They've invaded America. They're holding citizens hostage in Colorado, and this is all theater. This is all narratives that's being painted so that America can move forward with their agendas of dominating these poor countries that have resources that America wants access to. And they're going to do whatever they can to get it. Now, in fairness, because our job is to teach repentance also to our people. This is why our people got to repent too. Because we just got the reading in Psalm 17, that the Most High uses the wicked for, correction and whatnot, right? It's our job to recognize this, to change so that we can do right. Hosea 7:1 says, when I would have healed Israel, then the iniquity of Ephraim was discovered. We believe that the Venezuelans are of the of the kingdom of Ephraim, of the northern kingdom of Israel, the 10 tribes, one of the 10 tribes, right? The inhabitants of Venezuela. It says, then the iniquity of Ephraim was discovered, and the wickedness of Samaria, for they commit falsehood, and the thief cometh in And the troop of robbers spoileth without. See, that's what ends up happening. Because of our people's transgressions, because of our people's wickedness, the Lord said, I'm going to send a thief in, and troops and robbers are going to spoil you. So now we're seeing why our people are constantly being pillaged and plundered because of our own transgression. So, in fairness and balance, I'm not going to completely point the fingers and just say, look what they did to us. At the same time, we got to do the right things in order to receive the correction from the Most High, and so that his judgment can go forth on all those who rob and spoil us. Verse 2, it says, and they consider not in their hearts that I remember all their wickedness. Now their own doings have beset them about. They are before my face. See that? So before we do anything, we got to look at ourselves in the mirror. We got to make sure that we're doing the right thing so that we can get the righteous judgment of the Most High. So in fairness, right, we'll do that. So let's continue on.
Tension.
That was it. Okay, now look at this. Seething tyrant. You see how they, paint out this particular picture of Maduro? I mean, prior to this, I don't see where there was any conflict, that any threats that Venezuela had to us. If they want to blame anybody about, the Venezuelans are invading America, blame slow Biden, blame ICE, or whatever the case may be. But here they are saying seething tyrant. Now, where and whenever has America ever been sympathetic to Venezuela? If they really was, they could have been over there sending money and help. As usual, I'm gonna refer back to the documentary South of the Border. America has been getting at Venezuela for years now. They've been constantly trying to assert their authority over there. They want to take over that place. The Venezuelan presidents since Hugo Chavez have been putting up resistance. And now Trump is like, you know what? I'm sick of this. They painted narratives about Hugo Chavez. You see in the document, he go down there, talk to the people. Everybody's like, no, we love Chavez. It's all good. And he's like, see, but you leave it to Western media. They're saying I'm down here, oppressing the people. I'm just this old tyrant. These are the same tactics, right? But look at this. Raging Maduro vows to, quote, break America's teeth as U.S. seizes Venezuelan ship. As Trump shrugs, I assume we keep the oil. Almost $70 million of oil was on board the tanker, part of the global shadow fleet that also services Russia and Iran. So now we see that America is also stepping on the toes of Russia and Iran with this particular move, right? In a sword-wielding speech after the seizure, Maduro called for the Venezuelans to give the U.S. a real beating. He thundered, in times like these, we must be like warriors, with both eyes peeled, working, producing, building, keeping the country functioning, and be prepared to kick in the teeth of the North American empire if necessary. So, he's woofing real tough. Now, he knows damn well they don't stand a chance against America in a one-on-one. He's speaking because he knows who has his back. Russia, Iran, China, all have given him assurances that they will help in times of war. Now, whether that means troops on the ground, last week we had an article that said that there was already Russian troops on the ground. Are they there just training? Are they there to prepare and fight side to side? I believe it's more on the training aspect, supplying them with the weapons necessary. There's even, speculation, or I seen an article that was questioning whether or not they had nukes, or were they given a nuke? Are the Russians hiding nukes down there? We don't know, but they're speaking big, or Maduro's speaking big, right? So he's not backing down. That says, when asked why he ordered the operation, Trump responded coolly, it was seized for a very good reason. What was the reason? We don't hear of a reason. It's because they can and because they will, right? And when a reporter inquired about the fate of the oil on board, he shrugged, we keep it, I guess. So blatantly just robbed them. I got a good reason for taking what I got. What? Why? Because I want it. Because the $70 million of oil. It's because I want the rest. Remember, Maduro told him, he said, man, if you just back up off of me, I'll give you oil, I'll give you gold, I'll back away from my relations with Russia and China. But that wasn't good enough. Wasn't good enough, man. So here we see the thief on the move, man. The thief on the move. Let me see this. There's another video I have from now look at this. This is him talking about Colombia.
So the president of Colombia, who you call a drug dealer?
No, I haven't really thought too much about him. He's been fairly hostile to the United States, and I haven't given him a lot of thought. He's.
They asked him about the president of Colombia. They said he'd been fairly hostile to the United States. What actions of hostility has the Colombian president done to America? Physically, politically, nothing. The fact that he spoke out and said, hey, what you doing to Venezuela ain't right, man. You over there, bullying and taking things that ain't yours, this, that's acting hostile, man. If you don't agree with Agent Orange, if you don't agree with the dictatorship and the monarchy that's being ran over here, man, he's like, hey, if you ain't with me, you against me. Remember, that was George Bush's old motto. Either you're with us or you're with the terrorists after 9/11. Lines in the sand was drawn. If you're not rolling with the beast, if you're not rolling with this great whore, if you don't want to come in and wrap your lips around the poison teat of this broad, then you're considered an enemy. So he's saying, hey, he's acting hostile towards us. Where, when, and how? Ain't nobody in fear or fearing that Colombia is a threat to America. Knock it off.
But he's going to have himself some big problems if he doesn't wise up. Colombia is producing a lot of drugs. They have cocaine factories that they make cocaine, as you know, and they sell it right into the United States. So he better wise up, or he'll be next. He'll be next too. And I hope he's listening. He's going to be next. Yes.
You see how this dude he be whooping, man. He be whooping, he's trolling, and he be talking big stuff. So now he's saying, oh, we know you got drugs over there too. I mean, hey, look, why don't you just go to war with every country that's got drugs in? Start here first. Start here first. How about the poppy fields and all that was going on in Afghanistan, where the heroin is coming from? Again, China with the fentanyl, Mexico, you got drugs going on, hashish in the Middle East. I mean, what are you talking about, man? But if you got something that he wants, he's gonna come get it. And using the mere excuse of, well, they got drugs over there. They got a lot of drugs and cocaine. I mean, I don't know, but I'm probably asking the wrong audience, but is cocaine still being used like that? I mean, all I'm hearing about is fentanyl, the pills. I mean, you don't even hear about cats doing crack no more. It's heroin, pills, lean, and all this other stuff. All the mood altering drugs, the Xanaxes, and all of the Edomite housewives sitting back sipping wine and popping pills all day. That's the drugs that I'm hearing about. I mean, who's still sitting back sparking up a crack pipe? I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch with that, but ain't nobody talking about no damn cocaine. He's acting like this damn the 80s with Escobar now.
Mr. President.
Because we don't like people when they kill people. And they sell drugs, they kill them in the United States, and Colombia is a major manufacturer of drugs, meaning cocaine in particular, as you know.
I thought the threat was fentanyl. Heroin. Now it's cocaine. Okay. Let's move on, man. Let's move on. Look at this. Cuba on edge as the U.S. seizure of oil tanker puts supply at risk. I mean, we've been covering and talked about the plight that Cuba's facing. Cuba's been in a situation, man, where they've been in situations of rationing food, power, water. Excuse me. Economically, the place is completely shut down. Let a hurricane or let anything come through there, man. That they always takes them months and even years to recover because they don't have the resources there. They've been on sanctions with America since the Cold War. So America's cut them off from even surviving and telling anybody, hey, look, you deal with them, man, you got to deal with us. Same way they did with Venezuela because of their relationship with Russia, relationships with China, so forth and so on. It's these other countries, man, that's holding them up. So look at this. A U.S. move this week to seize an oil tanker out of Venezuela is poised to make a bad situation worse for a crisis-stricken Cuba already struggling to source enough oil to power its ailing economy and electrical grid. So that was oil that they was highly dependent upon for the survival of the island or the survival of the country. And America just stepped in and said, no, that's not going to you. I'm taking that. Waging war against blacks and browns. How about that? Killed two birds with one stone. Now. The communist-run nation, a nearby neighbor and longtime foe of the United States, suffers daily hours-long rolling blackouts that have decimated productivity and tested the patience of exhausted residents. Cuba depends on Venezuela's crude and refined products transported to the island by small vessels and a small fleet of sanctioned tankers for a large portion of its consumption, according to shipping data and analysts. I've seen, I forgot what channel it was, but it was one of these cats, man, that does a traveling channel. He was down there in Cuba. And it's amazing, man. Our people are so resilient and resourceful and living in the and that's a gift and a curse too, because that sometimes prevents us from repenting, because when our people are living in hell and they've been able to make it through, like we've got the ability to adjust. When the heat gets turned up, you know, we just take off another layer of clothes and we still sit back and play and laugh and act like it ain't nothing. You know, when the Most High said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because I've rejected knowledge, I reject thee. So our people don't feel like they've been rejected. As long as they can go to the damn cathedral with the big cross of Caesar Borgia in there and statues all over the place, they feel like they're faithfully going to be taken care of. They go outside barefoot and playing, their kids running around, still kicking old dusty soccer balls. And, you know, as long as they're able to still pull together resources to eat and feed each other and, you know, can afford a little room, they're all right. And then when you tell them, hey, look, you got to repent, this ain't right. Oh, get out of here. No, that ain't the way. Oh, you're desecrating, you know, the true image of our Savior. Oh, no, we don't believe everybody should, you know, people gonna have to be punished for what they done. We're all living in the glory of Christ. Like the religious hegemony that's ruled over our people, these denominations, demon nominations, Catholicism, Christianity, Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witness, all of the above have spoiled our people rotten, man. I'm telling you, I watched this video. I mean, our people, you can see they're impoverished for sure, but they still got smiles on their faces. They still living like ain't nothing changed, man. So Cuba now is in dire straits because of this oil being restricted from them. And now we got to see what happens when they get to suffering, right? So let's continue. Now look at this. This is why it's a very interesting thing. Now, you know, Pete Hegseth is the head of the Department of War now. He's been appointed head of the Department of War under Trump's administration in 2025, right? But here's the video of him in 2016, Slovakia. 2016, where Agent Orange was sitting again on the throne, and Hegseth was against Agent Orange. See how that works, man? These guys are complete devils and hypocrites. 9 years ago, he's warning about Trump issuing unlawful military orders. Hey, this guy's gonna get in there. He's gonna start. If he's gonna start trying to issue unlawful military orders, you resist it. We don't follow those, and you got every right. And now he's the one carrying them out. I can show you better than I can tell you. Here we go.
I do think there have to be consequences for abject war crimes. If you're doing something that is just completely unlawful and ruthless, then there is a consequence for that. That's
like bombing fishing boats, killing Venezuelans, killing Trinidadians, seizing oil tankers for no good reason outside of we've had a good reason, or those type of war crimes, maybe. Oh, okay.
why the military said it won't follow unlawful orders from their commander-in-chief. There's a standard, there's an ethos, there's a belief that we are above what so many things that our enemies or others would do.
Andrew, I know you reached out to the White House, you reached out to the Defense Department, or as they now call themselves, the Department of War, about that.
So this is so cold because, you know, the internet is undefeated, man. The internet sleuths will go dig up something 9 years ago. Somebody found this video and it went viral. They sent it to the news outlets. News outlets is reaching out to the White House and HECSF like, hey, what do you got to say about this? Huh? You know, some years ago, you was quite opposite of what you're doing now.
This video, what did they tell you?
Yeah, Aaron, we did reach out to both the White House and the Pentagon about this newly surfaced video that we found. Now, Kinsley Wilson, that's a Pentagon spokesperson, told us that HECSF has been clear and made clear there are already procedures for unlawful orders, telling CNN, quote, the orders being given to our military under President Trump are lawful, and the despicable video of Seditious Six urging our troops to defy their chain of command was a politically motivated influence operation by elected officials aimed at sowing distrust and chaos in our armed forces. We also reached out to the White House, Aaron, and in a lengthy statement to CNN, Anna Kelly, that's a White House spokesperson, said that HECSF has been entirely consistent in its position then, and added that Democrats are trying to deliberately manufacture doubt where none exists. They told us, quote, these lawmakers sow doubt in a clear chain of command, which is reckless, dangerous, and deeply irresponsible for an elected official. It's asinine.
It's the Democrats. The Democrats is creating a false narrative. Everything that he said, he's consistent with. There's nothing illegal going on here. Everything's fine. And, you know, listen to the commander-in-chief. What he says goes. That's what HECSF says now.
That CNN cares more about the secretary's uncontroversial remarks than those of elected officials who are putting military service members in harm's way by telling them to...
All right, enough of this guy, man. I'm about to throw up. Look, this is another thing as to why we can see America is going to get their butts handed to them. See, the Most High is like the biggest, you know, you talk about the feds, man, collecting evidence, making a case, RICOs and all that other stuff, man. He's just sitting back looking at everything and building up the case against America. Proverbs 11:9 says, a hypocrite with his mouth destroyed his neighbor. So when you hear words and you see what happens with Pete Hegseth, Agent Orange, Slow Biden, all of them, all the hypocritical things that they've done and said, Obama, all of them, right? Well, they say one thing, do the other, is only building up a reputation of destruction. They're the ones that's going to cause this place to get destroyed. Thus saith the Lord. But through knowledge shall the just be delivered. So this is why we take note and knowledge of what's going on and how this place is going to be served up on a platter because of what they do, what they say, and the actions that they take. Now let's continue on. Here's another one. Trump's blistering national security plan slams European allies as, quote, weak and goes full America first. Now, this is prophetic. This is prophetic. We're going to see in a minute.
So if you're hurt in an accident, call Sweet James, 800-9-million.
Come on.
I'm Atra Al-Nashar in Washington. President Trump laying out his national security goals in a new memo that puts new focus on the Western Hemisphere. This comes as some of the president's supporters say he's straying from his America First vision.
Now, see, this is where you see, like I said, he's got a new focus. Remember, he campaigned on America first, right? That's what got all these MAGA hat maniacs, jumping on the bandwagon. Finally, he's going to bring jobs back. Finally, he's going to bring manufacturing back. Finally, he's going to tax these other nations. Finally, we're going to pull out of these wars. And he's done none of the above, right? Now you see Marjorie Taylor Greene departing from the party, and what's the other guy? The little alleged sodomite. What's that dude's name? Nick Fuentes, and all them, all sowing discord within the whole little MAGA movement. Now there's division within there, right? And especially Marjorie Taylor Greene, who quit, and she says, he left off from his vow of being America first. Now Agent Orange is double back and saying, no, I'm really America first. Watch, I'm gonna show you.
Shy of a year into his second term, President Trump details in this newly released national security memo how he wants to change America's relationships and responsibilities in every region of the globe. The president's top priority is connected to his months of strikes on alleged drug boats.
Very soon we're going to start doing it on land too.
Look at that. You talking about Agent Orange. Good Lord. All right. I couldn't help but notice that.
Trump's memo states, after years of neglect, the United States will reassert and enforce the Monroe Doctrine to restore American preeminence in the Western Hemisphere.
If you're focused on America and America first, you start with your own hemisphere where we live.
A big part of this is creating a larger U.S. military presence in the Western Hemisphere, particularly the Navy and Coast Guard, to control sea lanes, to thwart illegal and other unwanted migration, to reduce human and drug trafficking, and to control key transit routes in a crisis. Another tactic? Tariffs. The president says he's prioritizing what he calls commercial diplomacy to boost American commerce while making it harder for non-hemispheric competitors to increase their influence in the region. And the White House says we should make every effort to push out foreign companies that build infrastructure in the region. The Trump administration says all of this is part of their America First strategy, but even some of the president's own supporters argue he's too focused on foreign affairs.
America First should mean America First and only Americans first.
Where the Trump administration wants America to shoulder less responsibility is Europe, claiming the continent is in decline in part due to migration. They also accuse European leaders of having unrealistic expectations for peace in Ukraine and argue NATO should stop expanding.
Now, you hear what they're saying. They've got big problems with Europe. He said Europe is weakening because of migration. They think NATO needs to stop expanding. So we're seeing a dynamic where America and Europe now are not seeing eye to eye anymore. Why is that? Why is that important? Why do we say that is prophetic, right? Job 12, let's look at verse 23, right? Now, notice this. The Most High is in control of everything. Now, in Agent Orange's eyes, he's looking at America, trying to build up America's preeminence again in the West, being, the end-all, be-all for everything out there. They already still are that. But it's losing. America's been losing its confidence and its lackluster, in its luster, I should say, amongst the nations and internally. So he wants to rebuild confidence internally. No, even though our legs as wobbly as a newborn Bambi, deer, we're still strong. But look at this. It says the Most High in Job 12:23 says, he increases the nations and destroyeth them. So if anything, this is all setting the stage for destruction of America, because as he's looking at increasing his power, his influence, he's looking at robbing and stealing from other nations. He's looking at asserting his dominance over Europe and trying to be the boss and telling them what they're going to do. The Lord said, okay, yeah, if you're being increased, it's only so that you can be destroyed. He enlargeth the nations and straighteneth them again. So the Most High is in control of everything. So even when it looks as though America is dominating or nations are becoming more problematic, the Lord said he's going to straighten them out. Verse 24, he taketh away the heart of the chief of the people of the earth and causeth them to wander in the wilderness where there is no way. See, Trump is the chief of the people. America is the central hub of control of the earth. We know America, this is the great whore, right? All the nations are drunken off the wine and the fornication. They all come over here because they want to associate themselves and be affiliated with America. He's a mouthpiece of the world. And the Lord said he's going to cause everyone, this place is going to be desolated and destroyed. He said they're going to be wandering in the wilderness where there is no way. There is not going to be any getting out of this. So let's stay in Job. Let's read verse 30. In verse 1, this is how we know we're talking about the so-called white man. Job 30, verse 1, it says, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. When it's saying younger than I, meaning because we know Esau was the older, Jacob was the younger, right? We ain't talking about through age. We're talking about through the spirit of our knowledge and wisdom, understanding the covenant and everything that the Most High has blessed us with. They are inferior to us. Remember, the Most High said, one people shall be stronger than the other people. That's us, right? So we are stronger. We're above these other nations, in particular the so-called white man. He said, I would have disdained to have them sit with the dogs of my flock. Why? Because they'll steal the dog food. Dare I say, he might even try to have relations with the dog. Verse 2, yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished? For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in the former time, desolate in ways. Yeah, because until 333 BC, man, the so-called white man was nothing. Edom was latching on, creating alliances with Moab and Ammon, being mercenaries, man. During the Dark Ages, they got shut down, had to flee to the caves. Verse 4, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat? They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. See, they were driven forth from among men. They were outcasted, man. All of the nations have a problem with the so-called white man. And all of them are crying thief. I remember a couple years back, man, you had who was the president of Turkey? A Trojan, man. He said, look, everybody hates America. He said, we just tolerate them because we have to. But we don't like them. And they all are saying, man, what do you think Venezuela's saying? They're crying after him as a thief. What do you think Cuba's saying? Crying him after as a thief. What do you think Haiti is saying? Crying him after a thief. The Native American community, crying after a thief. Afghanistan, you name it. I mean, it goes without saying. But where do they live? To dwell in the clefts of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Yeah, the cave brothers, man, Caucasus Mountains. That's where they were and have been known to dwell in. Petra, historically, a mountainous region where they were living in it as well. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were violent in the earth. Yeah, well, isn't that what it says in Hebrews 12:16? He said they're violent in the earth, man. Even Hebrews 12:16. Unless there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for a morsel of meat sold his birthright. See, that's violent. Fornicator, profane. It all leads back to him, right? Now, the biggest thing that we're talking about prophetically also is it says that there is now an effort that America is separating itself from Europe. They've got a problem with NATO, right? And now we're seeing where this comes into play. Revelation 17:16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Well, who are the 10 horns? Let's jump back over here. The 10 horns are the European Union and NATO, right? We'll cover that in a minute, a little bit more. But when you're looking at it, you're talking about the European Union. You got the European Economic Community, the European Union, NATO. It's all a conglomerate. It's all the same. We're looking at when they first started off, 1949, it was 10 original Western European countries. They came together after World War I to create a global government, if you will. And then they created the NATO as the military arm of this particular union, right? And as they grew, they accepted more nations in. They're up to over 30 members now. So it's morphed, right? It's like a damn hydra. One nation jumps out, man, here comes another head pops up. But these are the original is talking about these 10 horns, right? Now it says they're going to hate the whore. In verse 16 again, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Exactly. This is the judgment that they're going to, this is how America is going to end up in a global conflict with these particular nations. Jeremiah 50 also gives us understanding about that. But you wonder, you say, well, America's always an ally of Europe, and you know they're always going to have good stuff. No, now we're seeing something is going to intercede to create a conflict between Europe and America, and Trump is now being the voice that is now saying America's not down with Europe like that anymore. And actually, he's even pandering to Russia now even more. He's thinking he's going to be able to cozy up to Putin because he don't really want to smoke with Putin right now. That's why he's trying to create these particular peace deals that is favoring Russia. Zelensky in Ukraine is not going for it. The European Union is not going for it. NATO's not going for it. That's putting America in a precarious situation where they're like, oh, shoot. I thought we could just tell them, accept the peace deal and keep it moving. But that ain't how it's moving, right? So now we're seeing where this is coming into play. Where the 10 horns are going to collaborate with the other nation. They're going to say, man, the hell with America. They're going to be complicit when them ICBMs get to flying over here from Russia, China, Iran, wherever. They're going to be complicit and going to let it go down. And America's going to have to fight back. Bombs going to be flying all over the place. But look at this. Jeremiah 50, we're going to read 40 down to 42. As the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith Yahweh, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. Talking about America. America's going to be destroyed. That's thus saith the Lord, right? I believe in this in Revelation. I want to say, I think 16 says there's going to be a smoking memorial. Revelation 18 tells you it's going to be destroyed, right? This place is going to be uninhabitable for man anymore after that. Continuing on, and it says like Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, Revelation 11 and 8 tells us this place bears the spirit of Sodom. That should be another hint. Verse 41. Behold, the people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised from the coast of the earth. These are the 10 horns and the collaborative nations who are going to have a problem with America. And they're going to rise up against them. What does verse 42 say? They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, everyone put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. So it ain't Babylon itself. Old ancient Babylon is not in the picture. Ancient Babylon fell without much resistance to the Persians and the Medes. The daughter, meaning the offspring, meaning the successor of ancient Babylon, is a daughter of Babylon. That's America. It's going to face judgment, right? And it's going to come. And now we're seeing the echoings of why, because, hey, Trump says Europe is gone weak. We need to back out. NATO needs to stop trying to, add to the armies and all that other stuff. Matter of fact, I'm losing. I'm going to take my support from all of this. So now you see why the nations is hot. Trump's team sees Europe's erasure. Europeans see a hostile U.S. Now, notice this. They're talking about Europe. Hold on. My bad. Let me put this back up because I did want to show this. The 10. Remember about the 10 horns, right? Here's the original 10. The Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Denmark, France, Norway, Sweden, the UK, Ireland, and Italy. As time went on, in that same year, Western Germany joined. So they were continually building on. But if you notice here, you're just looking at the founders, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the 10. Okay. So, and again, it's expanded, but what the Bible is talking about is it's inception, the original 10 horns, and now it's expanded into, this conglomerate, right? Now, here's another article where we're seeing the deterioration of relationships between America and Europe. Trump's team sees Europe's erasure. Europeans see a hostile U.S. So now both parties, at one time they were on one accord, now no longer. They're looking at each other sideways. Relations between the U.S. and Europe hit a low point as President Donald Trump's security strategy slams Europe, but largely ignores threats from Russia and China. A new U.S. national security strategy berating Europe has triggered a wave of acrimony across the Atlantic, enraging and dismaying European officials who say the document has turned the Trump administration vitriol against European democracies into formal policy. Did you hear that? The Trump administration's vitriol. Now you see why the 10 horns are going to hate the whore. They're already building up resentment. They're already building up scorn. Right? What's that old saying? Love have no fury than a woman scorned. Right? This is all going to lead towards eventual judgment, warfare. We talked about the seals the past couple of weeks. Right now we're embarking on the fourth seal. We're pretty much, already kind of lining up into it regarding, the scales of judgment, famine. All of those things is lining up, right? The fifth seal next is actual bombs, warfare, everything dropping. No. Yeah, I think the fifth seal is the bomb dropping. The sixth seal is the martyrs, those slain for the word. So we're moving right along, and time is moving so fast, man. Yahweh Shai even said, man, the time's got to be cut short for the elect's sake, lest no flesh will be saved. So, continuing on, it says President Donald Trump's push to halt the war in Ukraine on terms favorable to Russia, as well as the European Union's announcement Friday of a roughly $140 million fine against X for violating the bloc digital rules, have fueled the fire, pushing transatlantic relations to the lowest point since Trump returned to the White House in January. So there you go. We're seeing the deterioration of the relationships between the 10 horns in America. War generation. We must prepare for scale of war our grandparents endured. NATO chief chillingly warns that he reveals Putin's next target. See, they're still looking at Putin saying, oh, Russia's going to be the next. Russia's after Russia. Be that as it may, even if that is the case, we see here that the NATO chief is saying we got to get prepared for war like our grandparents endured. What grandparents he talking about? Oh, we're talking about the ones from World War II, World War I. So in other words, he's saying we're going to have a third woe, as the Bible called it, a third war, a third destruction that's going to impact the world. And he's saying we got to get ready. In times past and in the years before, we've been showing how in Europe over there, man, and Russia, they doing nuclear. They got nuclear preparedness trainings in the schools. Conscription is going on from Germany and other European nations, saying, man, they doing the draft. The nations is out flexing their muscle. China showing off their new weaponry. Iran trying to get somebody to help them with some nukes. They got China on board. Russia on board. It's going down, man. Let's continue on with this. He warned the UK and other allies are the next in Russia's sights and said member states must rapidly boost defense spending. Speaking at a security conference event in Berlin, Root said, we are Russia's next target. I fear that too many are quietly complacent. Too many don't feel the urgency, and too many believe that time is on our side. It is not. The time for action is now. See, and that's important too, because how do we relate that in the spirit for us as Israelites? He said, man, too many of us are complacent. Too many of us think we got all damn day, And granted, no man knows the day or the hour, right? But Yahweh said, watch and pray. We have to take heed to the prophecy. The Lord said, if you fear the Most High, keep the commandments, you should be occupied in prophecy. Not arguing about how to pronounce the name of the Most High, not, arguing about the Gentiles and how they're going to be saved. Hey, look, the scripture said in 2 Corinthians 9, paraphrasing, not to be concerned how the wicked is going to be saved, but how the righteous is going to be preserved. So I refuse to spend time about campaigning about how much I know that the nations are going to be side by side with me. The heathens, and we're going to march in simultaneously. All right, I didn't mean to go there. But what's more important is us, me, you, we doing the things that the Lord said we need to do to be preserved in that day. Because the nations, hey, you just seen, NATO chief said, man, hey, look, everybody's out here. Look at this. Too many don't feel the urgency, and too many believe that the time is on our side. It is not the time for action. Is now. Yeah, Yahweh Shai even told us time is going to be cut short for the elect's sake. Sirach 5. How can we learn from this as Israelites? Set not thy heart upon thy goods, and say not, I have enough for my life. Follow not thine own mind and thy strength to walk in the ways of thy heart, and say not, who shall control me for my works? For the Lord will surely avenge thy pride. Say not, I have sinned, and what harm hath happened unto me? For the Lord is long suffering; he will in no wise let thee go. So the Most High said, even though you think we getting away with sin, iniquity, unrighteous thoughts, or whatever the case, but the Lord said, I'm not letting you go. You're still going to feel the pain. You're going to feel the wrath. I'll correct you in measure. Nobody's getting away. But look at this. Say not, I have sinned, and what harm hath happened to me? For the Lord is long suffering; he will in no wise let thee go. Concerning propitiation, meaning repentance, or sacrifice for sins or whatnot, concerning propitiation, be not without fear to add sin to sin. And say not, his mercy is great. He will be pacified for the multitude of my sins, for mercy and wrath come from him, and his indignation resteth upon sinners. So we can forget about that old Christian slogan, God hates the sin but loves the sinner. No, he says his indignation, his fiery wrath rests upon sinners. It says both mercy and wrath come from him. We can't just say, man, God is all merciful, long suffering. I'm going to rely on all that. No, the Lord said, I'm going to bring wrath too. Don't say his mercy is great. Don't use that as an excuse to continue on in your folly. Because the Lord said, I'm going to get you. Verse 7, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. Don't be complicit. Don't be complacent. Don't sit back and say, we got time. Leave it to that's why the Most High said, man, I'm no man knoweth the day. Not even Yahweh Shai and angels know. They sitting back waiting for the cue to go. They waiting for the green light. Because you know what? A slick Negro and Hispanic gonna sit back and wait to the last minute. If there was a particular date, that's why when everybody was, there was a time when they were talking about 2012. For those of you that was in the truth, y'all remember there was, prophecies, and there was a discussion about that. The Mayan calendar was the most accurate calendar of ancient times, and there's going to be a changing of the guard. It's going to be the end of the world. And then they changed it and said, oh, the interpretation is the end of an age. It's going to be a new age. Well, ain't nothing changed since 2012. But if you've been in this truth long enough, we've gone through the 1999, the Y2K. Oh, that was going to be it. Oh, now we went to 2012. That was going to be it. Oh, we went to 2019, the year of release, 400 years. The Negro and the Hispanic always looking for the damn end of the road. Well, what's the date so I know when to get right? A nigga will wait until, 3 days before, sinning and acting a damn fool and say, well, 72 hours before, say, I'm going to repent my butt off. The Lord's going to have to forgive me. He's merciful. I did what he said, repent. The Lord said, no, we don't have time to even be trying to gamble like that. Do it now. Don't wait. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord and put off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. That's what we learn from this as well. See, the NATO chief, he's running around telling his constituents and Esau, hey, we got to get ready. Y'all got to stop sleeping. But Israelites, man, the men of the Lord, we go out there telling our people all the time, hey, time is of the essence. We got to repent. You got to learn who you are. You learn who your enemies are. You got to repent. Keep the laws. Y'all been saying it's the last days forever. Oh, yeah, we ain't got to keep the laws no more. Oh, no, you guys are a cult. You guys are a hate group. They just constantly making excuses. And you see the walls crashing in around you. You're watching the news, you're seeing the Instagram feed, you're seeing all this information that's flying all over the place, and you still sit back and say, I don't know. I think we don't know. Right? That should be the fear. Continuing on, it says conflict is at our door. Russia has brought war back to Europe, and we must be prepared. Root predicted that Russia could engage the alliance in direct conflict within the next 5 years. What's 2025 plus 5? Somebody put it in the chat. I'll wait. I know y'all are astute, man. Y'all are very, very astute. I know, brothers and sisters, man. Y'all good at math. You're good at following along with things. What's 25 plus 5? Where do we? Oh, okay, Bayan. Okay, you. Does anybody agree with Bayan? Is he correct? Just put a 7 in the chat if you agree. 2025 plus 5 is 2030. Okay, I see some rights. All right. Bayan, you correct. Imagine that. What else have we been hearing 2030? Why has that year been echoing? From the digital IDs to having the programmable wearables, for having the Social Security threatened to be cut off, universal basic income being talked about, Agenda 2030. There you go, Agenda 2030. But guess what? They got to have a reason. They got to have a cause. You got to have a reason to establish a new world. You know the rest. Right? The Hegelian dialectic, problem reaction solution. See, now you're seeing here, now even NATO saying, look, by in the next 5 years, man, we could be Russia's going to be at war with Europe. We got to get ready. We ain't got time. And even shorter than that, China has been threatening to invade Taiwan by 2027. How many of y'all seen how fast 2025 done sped by? I mean, we're pretty much at the end of the line of this so-called year. And a lot's going on in this year, but because so much is going on, it's just been flying like this. So 2026 is knocking on the door. Imagine how fast that's going to swoop by, and before you know it, we potentially could be talking about an all-out war between China and Taiwan, and America is getting involved. You could be hearing about, and at the same time, they're going to be building up for the Olympics. They're going to be talking about terrorist threats going on over here, a new virus plague coming out, all of the above. But look at this. It says, coming from the chief of NATO, this is no scaremongering, but a genuine warning to be heeded. So this isn't fear porn, as they say. This isn't fear mongering. They're saying, hey, take his words for sure. Now, Russia's sitting back saying, man, you tripping. All I'm concerned about is this little spat I got with Ukraine. You're creating a narrative that I'm going to be the problem. And guess what? You ever seen in movies where, I can't remember one in particular, but there's a scenario where everybody's pointing guns at each other and they're saying, nobody shoot, everybody calm down, And something drops on the ground and some paranoid, cat gets to shoot. Like, what was it? Enemy of the State. There was a scene in there where you had the FBI agents and the mafia, was sitting in the room, and Will Smith was manipulating both sides, and they got tripping, and next you know they get to shooting out because somebody got paranoid. This is the type of scenario that they're lining up. NATO is saying, hey, look, Russia's pointing at us. They did it in the Magnificent Seven too. Okay, we'll take that one too, right? They're pointing at us. And next thing you know, some unwittingly smaller nation gets paranoid because of an AI video or who knows what. Some rumor them flew out and they didn't let some go. and all hell breaks loose. And you never let a good crisis go to waste, right? So continuing on, here's another war.
Open a whole new world of fascinating places and people for just $29.
Don't endorse these ads.
Scammers demand payment with gift cards. Don't share codes or personal details.
Cambodia and Thailand say they've launched fresh strikes against one another as their long-running border dispute again flares into deadly conflict. Cambodia said its forces had retaliated overnight and on Tuesday morning and was fighting to defend itself after being patient for 24 hours, it said. Thailand said its fighter jets had again struck Cambodian positions. At
Lucky.
least 7 Cambodian civilians and 3 Thai soldiers have been killed in these hostilities. The UN chief has called for de-escalation. The BBC's Panisa Emochai is in Bangkok following developments.
So I'm going to stop that there, right? So we're just talking about the wars, rumors of wars, uproars of the people, looking at the seal of the red horse taking peace from the earth, warfare being implemented, right? All of that is happening right now simultaneously. Deadly border clashes erupt between Pakistan and Afghanistan after failed ceasefire talks. So you got Pakistan, Afghanistan, Cambodia, Thailand, Ukraine, and Russia. You still got the small hats in Gaza, the Palestinians, Hezbollah, Iran. That's still on the table. There's still internal warfare is going on over in Africa. There's war conflicts jumping off. So when you're hearing about wars and rumors of wars, I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about and living in real time right now. And you know, Pakistan has nukes. Pakistan, I think, has about 150 nuclear warheads. Not to say that they're going to use them, or you know, Afghanistan, this is a big enough threat for them to utilize them. But the fact that they do have them, you never know. Pakistan's got Elam, and the scriptures tell you that Elam, what's that in? I think it's in. I think it's in Jeremiah 49. See, it says, "Thus saith Yahweh, the power of hosts, behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might." Right, the bow, Elam, the same countries, you know, that produced the Persians, the Medes, you know, and I've always, you know, made that analogy about that scene in 300, where you see Artaxerxes, and he was making that threat against the Spartans, and they sent the messenger out, and they said, man, if you don't surrender, man, the sky is gonna rain arrows on you and gonna block out the sun. And sure enough, they got the launching them arrows, and it sure enough came down by the thousands. See, that's the power of the bow. What's the new bow right now? The missile. The new bow is the aeronautical missiles that fly out there, right? Pakistan's got access to nukes, ICBMs. So, in like manner, and you would say, well, why Pakistan got them? Because that's in their lane. Iran, same way. You know, all of them. Iran wants them, right? Now, that's a descendant of Persia as well. But look at this. They got deadly border wars going on between them, right? Ceasefires has failed. Remember, the Most High said there should be no peace unto the wicked. When they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction happens. That spirit is definitely prevalent right now, because, you know, last month the headlines were so enthusiastic about peace deal struck between America and Ukraine. Well, people missed the devil in the detail. There was no war between America and Ukraine. So when it says peace deal struck between Ukraine and the US, that didn't mean that there was a peace deal with them and Russia. They're saying they agreed to a peace deal, but they still got to get Russia to agree to it. They came, Agent Orange came up with the deal, and now they expected or hope that Putin would deal with him. Putin was like, man, get out of here with that. And now it came out that Trump came out saying, oh, everybody liked my peace deal except for Zelensky. And then they said that Zelensky didn't even read it. So there was never, hold on. I don't even want to say that, and y'all be thinking I'm out here BSing, right? Look at this. Trump says Zelensky hasn't read a U.S. authorized proposal of peace. That was 5 days ago. So now you see here. Trump says Zelensky hasn't read a U.S. peace proposal. That was 5 days ago. Didn't they just say not too long ago in the end of November? Oh, U.S. and Ukraine come together with a peace deal. This is how you know, man. They be lying like a mug, and the media be lying. And then they put out this particular narratives to say, oh, well, it's because of Russia. Russia didn't accept the deal. It was never no deal in the beginning. All right. Let's continue on. Look, Zelensky rules out ceding land to Russia, refusing to bow to Putin or to Trump. So he's putting up a strong front, right? Hold on 1 second, guys. So, hold on. Salaki, y'all. So we see there was never no peace deal from the jump, right? Let me put this back up. Zelensky rules out that he was going to secede land to Russia, so that deal's off the table, man. So rumors of wars will continue on. Ukraine will not surrender territory. President Volodymyr Zelensky declared Monday, rejecting the central Russian demand that President Donald Trump had incorporated into his latest proposal to end the Kremlin's war. Under our laws, under international law, and under moral law, we have no right to give anything away, Zelensky said after meeting with top European leaders to discuss Trump's plan Monday. That is what we're fighting for. So who did he meet up with? European leaders. He's meeting with the EU. They're backing him. NATO, right? Even though they're not a NATO member nation, NATO wants war with Russia. NATO wants to shut down Russia. NATO wants to be able to remove the threat so that they can have the domination of Western and Eastern Europe. So that's never going to happen. Let's move on. We've been talking about the digital ID, the world system, all this other stuff, right? Now let's look at this. What's going on in Canada? You always look to see what's happening in other countries, especially neighboring countries, because it will filter over to America eventually. You know, you've got the NPSM 7 that Trump put out there regarding anybody that's got anti-American speech, anybody that's against what else did he say? I can't remember all of the things, but anything, Christianity, if you hold any views that basically goes against Agent Orange and his establishment, that's all sufferable or punishable as criminal, right? If y'all remember the NPSM 7 that I brought out a while back. Now, and it said that hundreds of nonprofit groups was upset about that, and they were going to appeal about the law. But look what's going on in Canada. Liberals back blocked proposal to remove religious exemption from hate speech laws. So what does this mean? You've got laws in Canada that says that under religious exemption, the Bible could still be read and utilized and without any restrictions of what's being read within it. Now you notice that here they are saying that the Bible contains hate speech. You cannot use that anymore. We're going to ban elements of the Bible or it within itself. Look at this. Religious groups raise concern. The conservatives oppose both the proposed amendment and the bill as written. Leader Pierre Poilievre posted on his X account last week that the block amendment would, quote, criminalize sections of the Bible, Quran, Torah, and other sacred texts. Did you hear that? That's going on in Canada. Now, no, it's going to leak over here as well. And we're going to see, I'm going to show you why that could be a great possibility for it to come over here, to criminalize it, because again, remember, Agent Orange had already put out the NSPM 7. Well, just your speech, your views, well, let me get that real quick. I think we need to be reminded of that. The 7. Look at this, and they say it's about domestic terrorism, right? Look at this. The stated proposed NSPM 7 to counter domestic terrorism, organized political violence, focusing mainly on perceived threats from the political left. The memorandum identifies anti-Christian, anti-capitalism, anti-American views as potential indicators that the group or person will commit domestic terrorism. I mean, for whatever reason, they will classify an Israelite as this, possibly this, indefinitely this, right? The memorandum claims that political violence originates with anti-fascist groups that hold the following views: support for the overthrow of the United States government. Oh, so you cannot talk about America is going to be overthrown, America is going to be destroyed. That's what the Bible says, right? Extremism, migration rate. Oh, you cannot have extreme views about who you are. Deuteronomy 7:6, that's going to be banned, right? Among other scriptures. Gender, hostility towards those that hold traditional American views on family, religion, and morality. So this is already a danger for us as we speak. Okay. So now that that's in effect, let's double back. Let's double back. Now in Canada, the leader Pierre Poilievre posted on his X account last week that the block amendment would, quote, criminalize sections of the Bible, Quran, Torah, and other sacred texts. News of the deal also promoted religious groups, including Catholics and Muslims, to speak out, saying it could chill or even criminalize religious speech. I think all Canadians can recognize that this is an issue that affects all of them, including religious and non-religious Canadians, said Hasib Hassan, spokesperson for the National Council of Canadian Muslims. Conservative MPs on the Justice Committee decried that MPs didn't have the opportunity to hear from witnesses on the proposed amendment. And notice that this comes on the heels of right on time with the cat that did the unalived the two National Guards guardsmen, even though one was a woman, there in DC. He was a quote unquote Muslim. His brother him and his brother were part of a secretive CIA military unit, right? He did work over there in Afghanistan. Now, we don't hear too much about that anymore, do you? When was the last time y'all heard about that? That was a hot topic, man. Oh, domestic terrorism. Oh, we got something going on over here. We got to. Now you don't hear nothing about it. That shows you that could have been a black swan. That could have just been a motivating thing to direct attention to people to say, look, the Muslims are the problem. And not just them, but any quote unquote religious extremists. And you know who falls in that same category? Us. Even though we disagree with them with Muslims in Iran, in Islam, vehemently on many a topic, right? But we're all going to be lumped in the same thing. But they're going to be used as a catalyst to come against us too. See, we're not a threat. We're a threat ideologically. We're a threat spiritually. And all those Israelites ain't out there carrying out no terrorist attacks, man. We're not burning churches. We're not, shooting up cathedrals. We're not doing no violence. Only thing we utilizing is the word of the Lord, hurting feelings, man, and cutting down and breaking down strongholds. They want to be able to, you can't tie us to any of those things. They've tried in the past, haven't been able to do it. So what do? They say, well, the Muslims, they hold extreme views just like them damn Israelites do. They're the ones who's going to go out there. We'll use them as a catalyst to say Muslims are here committing these particular crimes, and potentially those Israelites have the same type of spirit on them. We got to get them too. So there you go. Now, continuing on, since we're speaking about Canada, the EU and Canada collaborate on digital IDs. The EU and Canada now are in cahoots. Remember, this is a global thing. This is going to be a world-changing event, a world system that they're trying to get incorporated, right? Collaborate on digital IDs. The latest agreement between the European Union and Canada to collaborate on mutually recognized digital IDs is simply another step in what I have been warning about for years. Whenever government confidence collapses, the political class tightens control. Digital ID is not about convenience. It's about tracking capital and controlling movement as the global sovereign debt crisis accelerates. Yes, indeed. The author of this article is on point. The EU and Canada are collaborating on digital IDs, right? Look at this. Alaska plots an AI-driven digital ID, payments, and biometric data system. So the B system is in full flare. Y'all done seen, if you haven't, go on the channel. You see the 2-part series I did on this about the marking of the B system, so forth and so on. We see the EU in cahoots. The British Prime Minister came out and said you're going to have a digital ID for work and employment. Now Canada's on board. Canada's also now restricting biblical verses now. It's claiming hate speech. Alaska's on board. I mean, it's slowly but surely going to, China's on board. It's slowly but surely going to encompass the whole world. Everybody's going to buy in on it. Multiple countries in Africa is on board. It's already here. Now look at this.
President Trump has banned states from regulating artificial intelligence. The president signed an executive order Thursday that aims to create a single national framework for AI.
It also blocked states from enforcing their own regulations around it, which a White House aide said could cripple the industry.
Did you hear that? He's blocking any states from having their own regulations. It's one national framework for AI.
We want to have one central source of approval, and we have, I think, great Republican support. I think we probably have Democrat support too, because it's common sense. And you can't go to, every time you make a change, and it could be a very reasonable change, you still won't get it approved if you have to go to 50 states. So this centralizes it.
Congress killed a previous attempt by Republicans to prevent states from regulating AI earlier this summer. The Senate also voted nearly unanimously to remove a 10-year moratorium on the enforcement of state AI regulation from Trump's sweeping domestic policy bill.
So states now, power has been removed regarding regulating AI. It's going to be one way that AI is operating, and all states are going to comply.
President Trump.
Look at this. After AI push, Trump administration is now looking to robots. How long have we been saying that? They're looking for AI. They're looking for robots to replace jobs, to replace intelligence, to replace, entertainment, all kind of stuff, right? 5 months after releasing the plan to accelerate the development of artificial intelligence, the Trump administration is turning to robots. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has been meeting with robotics industry CEOs and is, quote, all in on accelerating industry development, according to 3 people familiar with the discussions who were granted anonymity to share details. The administration is considering issuing an executive order on robotics next year, according to 2 of the people. So we're talking about the future of jobs is dim, to keep it real. We're talking about career paths, entrepreneurship, small businesses, warehouse work, you name it, blue collar stuff. They're looking to shut it all down. and create a small little grid of specialists to control and run AI and the robots and other things that need human, interaction for the time being. But other than that, here's the robots, right? So this goes right in line. They already are sampling with this with the even within the the fast food industries and whatnot. I think there's uh, a fast food spot out in Pasadena that is fully robotic. I think there's a McDonald's in I want to say Texas that also has that, right? But these are all things that they're lining up. Let's continue. Have you seen this? AI generated police swap suspects sketches for AI. So now even they're incorporating AI to create sketch drawings of potential criminals. How many times have we seen facial recognition, AI facial recognition being used, and the wrong man being apprehended? There's been articles and research showing that AI has been tampered with regarding racial profiling. Because you gotta remember who's programming this stuff. Same people that programming are the same ones who's implementing these particular ideas into AI. Racial profiling, against us. There was this article I covered maybe about 6 months ago, where there was a brother in New York, got arrested, facial recognition was completely off. He was like 5 inches taller than the cat, just because he had dreadlocks and a beard or something like that. They lined him up, right? So these are the things that they're implementing, man. AI is now going to just draw up images, and they're going to say that's you, and you're going to be put in positions. Look, we even seen. Remember, the Open AI had the fake video of Sam Altman that he was stealing out the store, and the whole video was completely fake. Now they can implement AI to even show you being a thief. Now they're saying that we're going to not only they can create videos of you committing crimes, but then double back and say, well, this matches up with our AI sketch. You see what I'm saying? And everything could be fake. But because AI said so, we got the sketch that matches the video. It's all lining up. You're guilty. This thing is wicked, man. Let's continue. U.S. plans to scrutinize foreign tourists' social media history. Even visitors from countries like Britain and France, whose citizens don't need visas, would have to share 5 years worth of social media. So now you even see where the grid is even squeezing in and tightening up. Is they're even saying that part of the immigration deal or whatnot is coming in, but look at the countries that they're including. Formerly friendlies, as they call them, in Europe, they ain't even trusting them no more. Britain, France, that's part of the EU. They're part of the Ten Horns, right? They're saying we don't even trust them no more. If you're coming over here, we need to see 5 years of your social media. You don't want to give it up. You don't want to see it. You can't come in. But that shows you nothing dies on the internet. You could have an Instagram account you closed out, or a Facebook account closed out 3 years ago. They said, well, we'll go back to 2 years. What was you watching? What was you up to? What was you sharing? What is your political posturing? What videos have you been watching on YouTube? Travelers visiting the United States from countries like Britain, France, Germany, and South Korea could soon have to undergo a review of up to 5 years of their social media history, according to a proposal filed on Tuesday by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. All right, so we're just seeing how far back they're going to utilize the systems of control and this grid, this beast system, man, to lock down everybody. So your social media now is going to be used against you or for you if you're, past the standards. They already showing that they were checking the phones at the borders, people coming in and leaving out, right? So when this whole immigration thing went down, the ICE was going down, they were checking people's phones at the border already. So now they're just expanding to particular countries. It says the change would affect visitors eligible for the visa waiver program, which allows people from 42 countries to travel to the United States for up to 90 days without a visa, as long as they obtain electronic travel authorization. So they're bending, or tightening up the rules on who they're allowing in and who they're not. All right. And the qualifications. But it shows you that they're going to use that, social media, man. I know our people is in love with it. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm here using it. YouTube is social media. Facebook is social media. Instagram, social media. TikTok, social media. X, social media. And many of our people are plugged into all of these particular outlets, man. They're utilizing it to, share information, to be entertained, to stay connected to family, friends, whatever the case may be. And this whole particular web is going to be utilized as a tool to regulate your freedoms and minds, right? And shout out to my elder Rasha, because years ago, and he knows, we were forewarned of the internet and the dangers of it over 20 years ago. He said, man, stay away from that internet, man. That's a world wide web. It's a web. It's going to catch you up. And we used to be like, yeah, okay, I hear you. But many of us did kind of like, take heed to it and was like, man, I'm not messing with the internet too much. And, as time goes on, the access to information, everything else, they make it, Esau makes it to where you can't help but utilize the damn thing. You got to go into the matrix, but you got to go in and use it for what it is and get the hell out of there. So many of our people are falling in love with the AI, the tech, the video, the information. And, they even said, man, the information that comes from AI needs to be scrutinized, because a lot of it is not factual. AI is just collecting data and swallowing up everything that it gets fed, and then it just regurgitates it. Whether it's true or not, that needs 2 or 3 witnesses. So, not to go on a tangent on that, but social media, as much as it's being used as a tool for good, just know that the back door is always open, man. And the demons and the wickedness and everything else is sliding through, and our enemies is utilizing it as a stumbling block and a trap if we're not using it wisely. All right. Look at this. Man charged for wiping phone before CBP, say that 3 times, could search it, right? So Customs Border Patrol got this guy in Atlanta, man, and he cleared out his phone before they could search it, man, and they arrested him. So you can't even delete. You can't even delete your history without them saying, "What are you hiding? What are you doing? Why are you deleting?" Hey, look, it's my damn phone, and if I got anything on there that I don't want you to be privy to, I got a right to delete my damn phone. What are you talking about? But you see how this works? So even when you're looking at, okay, I got 5 years of social media history, I gotta, show before I can come into America. Let me delete this, that, and the third. They'll catch that. Look at this. A man in Atlanta has been arrested and charged for allegedly deleting data from a Google Pixel phone before a member of a secretive Customs and Border Protection unit was able to search it, according to court records and social media posts reviewed by 404 Media. The man, Samuel Tunick, is described as a local Atlanta activist in Instagram and other posts discussing the case. See, this is where that NPSM 7 comes into play, because look, it says he was an activist. So now they were looking to see, well, are you against America? Are you anti-Christian? Are you against American values? Or what are you up to? Oh, you deleted something. You got to be guilty. The exact circumstances around the search, such as why CBP wanted to search the phone in the first place, are not known. But it's uncommon to see someone charged specifically for wiping a phone, a feature that is easily accessible in some privacy and security-focused devices. So look, you can't even, wipe and clean your phone out without them raising their antennas saying, what's he trying to hide? I mean, if you're talking about 1984 in real time, man, this is it. Big Brother monitoring every damn thing. You're not even in control of what you have on and don't have on your phone without them tripping. So when you're worried about, when we're questioning when is the time of Jacob's trouble, it's knocking on the door. Hello. The indictment says on January 24th, Tunic did knowingly destroy, damage, waste, dispose of, and otherwise take any action to delete the digital contents of a Google Pixel cellular phone for the purpose of preventing and impairing the government's lawful authority to take said property into its custody and control. The indictment itself was filed in mid-November. So what? You wanted the phone, he gave you the phone. Too bad you didn't get what was on it. You dig what I'm saying? And they said, when they were questioned as to why did they seize the phone, they said they didn't tell them. So we don't know. It's similar to when Trump said, well, when they asked him, well, why'd you go seize the oil tanker? He said, we got a good reason. You understand what I'm saying? They're imposing authoritarianism. Let's continue. Western car makers in a fight for their lives against Chinese rivals, says Ford boss. I mean, what happened to the sanctions on China? I thought they were supposed to be crippled. I thought it was America first. I thought they were supposed to, he's supposed to be bringing manufacturing back. China is still profiteering because, they got backdoor deals jumping off, man. Anything else that we see is all off of theater. And here you see the Ford plants is talking about we're fighting for our lives, man. So all the Ford plants, remember the automobile industry used to be like one of the rooted occupations and backbones of America, man. Ford, Chevy, especially Ford. Detroit was, Motor City, right? Now all these foreign cars getting imported. So they up there saying, man, we're in the fight for our lives, man. We might go belly up. The boss of Ford has said what Western car makers are a, quote, in a fight for our lives against Chinese competition as the U.S. manufacturer agreed a new partnership with France's Renault. The two companies said on Tuesday that they would work together on two smaller electric cars, with the first to go on sale as soon as early 2028. They will also look at producing vans together. We know we're in a fight for our lives in our industry, Jim Farley told journalists in Paris. There is no better example than here in Europe. So, we're worrying about the economy. We're seeing where it's going. I mean, they destroy this place. This place is getting destroyed, man. That's the bottom line. Look, Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the U.S. may be drastically overstating job numbers. Oh, really? Tell us something we didn't know. Oh, that they're cooking the books. They're lying about the job numbers. They're lying about unemployment. They're lying about the economy. About to call them slow by. Agent Orange has been, because they both telling the same lies. Agent Orange has been running around talking about, the economy's fine. Inflation is flattened out. It's never been better under me. We're making billions and billions, trillions and trillions of dollars through the tariffs. I'm gonna give you a $2,000 derivative check off of it. Don't worry, I'm gonna take care of you. Meanwhile, the math ain't mathing. The numbers ain't looking like that, man. The dude's full of You know what I was about to say. Okay, look. The country could be losing 20,000 jobs a month. Powell said a concern that was part of the decision to cut interest rates. Yeah, exactly. So they just cut the interest rates a few days ago. Confidence in the stock market hit December. What was it? 12? What was that? Yesterday? Yesterday, they unleashed the money printing. They hit up the Federal Reserve and said, we need money. Billions got printed up. So that should let everybody know. I'm going to give you fair warning. Now that they hit the money printers, inflation is going to skyrocket. It's going to be even worse come next year. That's why I said last week, 2026 is going to be a very interesting year, a trying time, right? So not only are we seeing job losses, now we're seeing that the money that those of us who still hold jobs, all praises to the Most High, or have a income coming in, are going to be, our money ain't going to be stretching as far as they used to. I know Al-Adai's been sharing videos with us about, in our group chat about, and I've talked about it too with California, the oil refineries that's leaving California, let alone blowing up. Now all of a sudden, they're talking about and been talking about 2026 when the gas prices are going to be exorbitant here in California, as they want to try to influence everybody to get on public transportation because they're spending billions of dollars on new trains and all kind of stuff for people to try to ride on. Ain't nobody got time for that, man. This place is too damn big, and nobody's got time to take out another 3 or 4 hours out of your day just for travel to get to and from work or to and from, ain't nobody riding on the damn train with groceries and the metro. That's out. Crime the way that it is, man. So Jerome Powell is stating the obvious. Fed Chair Jerome Powell pointed out Wednesday to a job market risk that economists have been worried about for months. Official statistics could be drastically overstating recent hiring. Powell said that the Fed staffers believe that federal data could be overestimating job creation by up to 60,000 jobs a month. Did you hear that? They're lying, saying that they're overstating. They're creating 60,000 jobs a month, and that ain't going down. Remember back in the summer when the same thing came out and it was like 154,000 jobs was lied on, and Trump fired the chick that was holding the stats. It's talking about she was sabotaging his economic plans, that she was lying. Now Powell's lying too now. I mean, come on, man. Given that figures published so far show that the economy has added about 40,000 jobs a month since April, the real number could be something more like a loss of 20,000 jobs a month. Powell said, do you realize what 40,000 jobs they saying they created? He said the real thing is they actually negative 20,000 jobs. I mean, this guy can't tell a lie to save. I mean, can't tell the truth to save his life, man. Now, but mind you, here we're talking about, man, granted, through white collar crimes, I'm sure, he's managed to be a billionaire, but he's filed bankruptcy and bankrupted 6 times. He's supposed to be this outsider, that knows how to run a business and gonna get. He's on par for the course, man. He's running a business, which is America, into the dirt, which is all good because that's how the Most High said this place has got to go down, right? So the Fed chair says, man, something ain't right. I'm not a government agency. No, the Federal Reserve is not a government agency, even though they said it's federal. They're not affiliated with the government. So he's on a nonpartisan party sitting back who's in control of, the economics of and finance that America is getting loans from. He's saying, look, I'm analyzing data. It look like they lying over there. But I'm not tripping because they're going to come to me to print some money for them, which is exactly what they did. 7.6 magnitude earthquake hit Japan last week. They had tsunami warnings, the whole nine, reminiscent of Fukushima back in 2009. But didn't hit like, we thought. But hey, look, the Bible still tells us that earthquakes in diverse places was going to bound to hit. And notice a lot of these particular earthquakes, man, have been very high on a seismic scale. Things we've been seeing at 7.0 and greater in different areas, high 6s, For those of us out here, man, we got to buckle up. On the West Coast, from Cali to Portland to Washington State, they've been talking about something going to be hitting over here, Vegas, so forth. That fault line, man, they've been talking about it. I'm not asking for it, but let's just, be prepared. Who knows? Continuing on, dozens of boys say they were abused in a Christian scouting program that vowed to raise godly men. Is anybody shocked? Anybody shocked at this? Boys in the Assemblies of God joined the Royal Rangers for Bible study and backpacking, but the ministry has also drawn sexual predators. An NBC News investigation found. Say it ain't so. You trying to tell me the Christian church has got some scandals with PDF files within the Royal Rangers and the Assemblies of God? You trying to tell me that the Catholic Church has some corrupt priests and altar boy abuse? And what? Say it ain't so. These are men of God. Imagine that. The boys have been taught to obey their elders. Sounds similar to the same way they would use the slave Bible and use Ephesians to say, servants, obey your masters. and take full advantage, buck breaking jakes and all that. They still using the same tactics, but they taking it out on the little boys now, huh? Very interesting. The boys have been taught to obey their elders and how to pitch tents. No pun intended. How to pitch tents and build campfires along the creek-lined woods of Western Oregon. They could dutifully recite the motto for the Royal Rangers, a Pentecostal version of the Boy Scouts. Ready for anything, they chanted in unison. They wasn't ready for anything. Wasn't ready. Well, let me keep it PG, right? But notice it says this is a Pentecostal version of the Boy Scouts. You know that the Boy Scouts had to settle $1 billion case for doing the same thing. How much was it? So this guy, yeah, look at this. Boy Scouts of America reached a $2.46 billion settlement to compensate survivors of childhood sexual abuse within its programs, addressing over 82,000 claims. 82,000. $2.46 billion the Boy Scouts had to pay out. And here comes this church patterning itself after the Boy Scouts, and we see what happens, right? Look at that. Royal Rangers, huh? Let me share this with y'all too. Okay. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Is cannibalism being legitimized and legal here in America, man? I mean, you talk about hold on. The scriptures say that this place is the hold of every foul and hateful bird, man. I mean, this place is a habitation of devils. All manner of abomination is coming about this place, man. Revelation 18, verse 1 down. It says, and after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lighted with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, just like we've seen the Royal Rangers in that damn Pentecostal church. Let alone this place is legalizing a form of cannibalism. Well, watch this. And hold of every foul spirit and every cage of every unclean and hateful bird, right? So this place is a cesspool of all kind of wicked spirits of idolatry, fornication, abomination, adultery, you name it. Now, notice it. This is a website of a funeral home, Dignity Memorial. Human composting, now legal in many states. See, there's a reason why the Lord told us, man, that if at all possible, and not even if at all possible, lawfully we are supposed to have a burial. We're supposed to have a burial of the body. We didn't cremate because the nations were committing cremation. Bodies were being burned to Molech and other guys. That was a heathenistic custom, right? Now, because of financial situations, because of the lack of insurance and things of that nature, man, many of our people end up getting cremated, breaking the laws of God, not knowing it, just strictly off of financial means. Esau takes advantage of that, right? Now look at this. In life, Ben loved nature. Now his mother, Diane, declares he would have, quote, gotten a kick out of being a pioneer, returning to the land to become part of the soil through human composting. He would absolutely be so thrilled to know that he's becoming one with the earth and helping the earth recover, she says. So in other words, when the cremation is done, the ashes of the body are remained. They give it to the people, and now they have areas where you can actually bury the cremated bodies and make it be part of a garden. It could be part of helping regenerate, trees and things of that nature, right? But look at this. Human composting is a new alternative to burial and cremation that closely imitates the natural cycle of life. The process uses natural elements such as wood chips, mulch, and wildflowers to transform a loved one's body into nutrient-rich soil. And In a recent few weeks, the resulting soil can be returned to Earth. Pay attention. State that allow human composting. The first legislation to allow human composting passed in the United States in 2019. As of July 2025, a total of 13 state legislatures have passed legislation that legalizes this alternative. Here's the states: Arizona, California, Colorado, Delaware, Georgia, Maine, Maryland, Minnesota, Nevada, New York, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington. All these states have legalized human composting now. Now, here's their little disclaimer. However, just because human composting is permitted, that doesn't mean it's available. Now, coming soon, Connecticut, Hawaii, Illinois, Massachusetts, Missouri, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Utah, Virginia, all are available, right? Now, look at this. How to plan your own human composting. As with burial or cremation, human composting allows a family to celebrate and honor the life of their loved one. The families say they love the flexibility provided by the choice. A service can be held before the process starts, but those who choose the new service often being friends and family together for a celebration of life after the transformation is complete. That's when there's an opportunity to share the soil with those who would like to take a little bit home. Look at this, a little bit home to plant a tree or, what does that say? Nourish a garden. I'm gonna leave that there. Nourish a garden. Okay. Unbelievable. That's where we at. Let us be reminded of this. You know, I lost the channel because of this information. One of our MOTC channels got lost because of this information. I think at least 2 times or 3 times we got multiple strikes and all this, but now look at the vindication. Look what they finally want to come clean and say. Years later, after the damage is done, everything else, right? FDA to put most serious warning on the jab. You know that word. You know what it is. I can't. I'm paranoid. They still might flip and change my words and say I said something that wasn't right. They're going to put a warning on these jabs after a major study finds the shots cause deadly heart damage. No kidding. Now they got to put warnings on there. Now they got to have all of the disclaimers, the side effects, and everything else be understood. The FDA is drawing up plans to put a black box warning on the DVOC jabs. The agency's most serious warning over potential side effects, reports suggest. The move was revealed to CNN by 2 familiar with the matter who spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak to the media. A black box warning, which appears at the top of the prescribing information, is placed on drugs or vaccines to highlight major risks or serious side effects or restrictions. So imagine that, man. You know, you remember when people's jobs were being threatened, you was going to be released by the military, you couldn't travel, all this other stuff, man, because you stood on business and said, man, I don't trust it, I don't want it, I don't think it's right. 4 years later, now they want to come back and say, oh, you know what, you was right about that. Sorry, we'll warn you this time. But don't worry, they'll find another reason. Look at this. A measles outbreak brings with it echoes of the pandemic. Oh, remember, they still hold that in the back pocket too. In South Carolina, parents struggle to deal with infections that have brought quarantines and remote learning. Healthcare workers are bracing for an increase in cases. You know, they've used measles on a couple of occasions. They had one down a few years ago, Orange County, Disneyland. They were talking about, oh, measles outbreak hit Disneyland. Everybody watch out. Nothing ever really came of it like that. But here they are in South Carolina. They've got a measles outbreak. It says it's sickened more than 110 people, prompted more than 250 residents to quarantine and unsettled many more across the upstate region of South Carolina, a conservative stronghold where both the manufacturing industry and the population has boomed in recent years. Many families have felt familiar echoes of the pandemic this week. Oh, let's be reminded. Look at this. Some children were Near infected classmates have resorted to remote learning, with adults calling out from work to take care of them. Frustrations about the length of quarantines are bubbling up in the community. A national divisions over the efficacy of vaccines that deepened during the pandemic have remained as pertinent as ever, with many in Spartanburg still resisting the jabs, especially those meant for their children, as they should be, as they should be. But let's not forget, man. Hey, he still got a whole nother thing going on. They're echoing the pandemics going on over there in South Carolina because of the measles, whatever else they got on deck. But there's Marburg, they got disease X, they got the measles, they got new strains of the vid, they got Ebola, you know, you name it. Everything's on the table, right? But more importantly, everybody needs to, you know, remain prayed up, man. Do your preventative care, because you know things are real. These are real pestilences out there. The scriptures tell us that, you know, famine and pestilence is going to be part of these end times, right? So do your best to be up on top of your health and your preventative care, right? Number one, make sure you prayed up, man, because the Most High brings a healing. You feel me? But you see what's on deck, man. Agent Orange is out here waging war with our people, blatantly out here stealing in front of everybody. Human composting on deck, man. Other nations going to war. AI is making its ugly face being shown even more and more. Digital IDs on deck. I mean, the list goes on and on. We covered a lot today, man. I know it's a lot of information. If you need to double back, man, double back. Watch it again. Get the information that you need. Send it to a friend. You know what I mean? But other than that, man, I'm on a positive note. As always, everything's positive when we're dealing with the Most High, right? I want to acknowledge to the brothers and sisters, man. Shar Kanak, meaning Happy Hanukkah or Feast of Dedication. We'll be keeping it sundown. We'll begin the first night, Lord willing. See y'all this evening, be it virtually, physically, or in the spirit. And if not, y'all enjoy yourselves, man, and enjoy the rest of your Shabbat. All right. Till then, till the next time, man, Lord willing, y'all always remember, man, fear the Most High, keep the commandments, and lastly, don't shoot the messenger. Shalom.